Margot Hopfer, and I was born January 2nd, 1926.
Can you tell us about your parents?
My parents my mother was a housewife, my father was a traveling salesman. And what?
You mentioned that two.
Oh, my two brothers married two sisters.
Oh.
My mother was the younger one, and my father was also the younger one. And we were very close, although it was pretty far away. Where I was born in Würzburg, and my mother and that family in Stuttgart, Germany. And we were not rich people, but we were content. And we had a lovely life. And I had a grandmother, which lived only about an hour away from us. And all my vacations were either there or in Stuttgart. And
Do you remember any particular highlights from your childhood years?
yeah,
The time before you left on the Kindertransport?
yeah. Well, everything was fine until November 38. I was in a Jewish school, and I had nice friends nearby, and we played dolls every day. After school, this one girl lived very rich, and she had no mother, and so the father always invited us, and we could come and go and sleep, whatever. And I met her once here many years ago, but we never kept, after that, never kept in touch. And then, of course, after the Kristallnacht, my life changed.
Do you want to tell us about what happened on Kristallnacht?
Yes, what happened was I was sick. In my nightgown, I had fever, and they came to pick us up. And I walked, and you know, November was not warm. And they made us walk through the whole town to go to the jail where my father was. They picked him up before us. And he must have seen us, you know, that was their torture. And after that, everything went bad.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell the story about how they came to your apartment?
Oh,
And who was it who came to the apartment?
the Gestapo. And they had a little old man who lived a few blocks away, and his name was Mr. Lieberman. And he was holding on to me. He was half dead. And that's one of the worst things. And I wasn't feeling good myself. And then they dropped him, and then they let us go, and we went for an hour or so to a friend near the jail. And then we went to an apartment, a couple, we also had two daughters, and we were about 6 or 7 people afraid we couldn't go back home. and these other people. So we stayed, and every time we heard a noise, we got scared, we hid. And then about 2 days later, the Gestapo found us, and somebody from the Gestapo took us to the office to tell us that my father was killed in, as I said, he was running away. I can't say the German word now. Whatever. And we were there, and it was very hard.
Oh.
I was only 11 then. And so after that, somebody came from Stuttgart, a relative, I can't remember, there's certain, and we went to Stuttgart, and there the Jewish organization somehow found out about us. So my brother and I went to the Kindertransport.
I just want to back up. You didn't say how they came to your apartment. How they knew to come to your apartment.
Oh, there was upstairs a lady who was single, and we never had much. We said hello and goodbye. And she called up and said, my mother is playing the piano because what originally started the Kristallnacht was that a Jew shot somebody in France. That's what started the whole thing. And she said, my mother is playing the piano. We had no piano. She made up a lie.
Wow.
This was a neighbor, I mean.
To get you in trouble. And then do you know how you were chosen to go on the Kindertransport?
I presume it was because we lost my father. You know, that's the only thing that I can think of. We weren't there long enough, you know, for people to know us. And we went to Holland with the train. And they stopped someplace and they brought us white bread. And we ate like crazy. But somebody else, who did we meet? Who said also
Yes.
about the white bread. Because in Germany you didn't have white bread. We had black bread.
Now, did you have siblings and were they also chosen to go on the Kindertransport?
I didn't know anybody.
No. Siblings. Did you have a sibling?
My brother.
And he went with,
Oh,
Yes, your brother.
oh yeah.
did he go too at the same time?
He what?
Your brother went with you on Kindertransport?
Yeah. But he was younger. He's 2 years younger than me.
And then, so where were you when you had to say goodbye to your mother?
He was
Where did you say goodbye to your mother?
on the train, on the station. We didn't know if we ever see each other again. You know, it was sad.
And what year was that when you,
1939.
so you didn't know, you didn't make a plan with your mother about reuniting or?
No, we figured we'd never see her again. So that was very hard.
And what were your feelings as you traveled on the train? And did you know other children on the train?
None. They came from all over the country. It's not only, you know. And I can't even remember. I remember somebody's face, and I can't remember the name. A guy. He was very tall, but
How long was the train ride before you got to England?
I don't know. We landed at in Dover. Right, yeah.
And then can you describe how you were matched with your British family?
How we didn't know they have called the Bloomsbury House, who took care of the children, and they wanted me to go to be a companion for a girl, and I said no, I'll only go where my brother goes, and we both hit the wrong thing.
What do you mean?
Because when we got to these people, they were very strong Baptist. And she immediately said, we have to go to church twice a day. And they wanted my brother to convert. And if I said no, or do something that she did not like, she let it out on my brother. And she didn't give us enough to eat. And she was wicked, a witch.
And how long were you with her?
That I don't know. Then, but I went to church, and the minister, Baptist, was lovely. And of course he thought we would convert, so let him. And I said, but I want my mother to come. And he gave the affidavit for her to come.
Wow.
And what was she going to do when she came?
She's a housekeeper. And she was there not too long. And then one day my mother was very smart. She said to the witch that she got a letter from Germany. We have to sign something in London. And she didn't realize that we were not coming back. But we didn't know where to go in London. But we took a chance.
Your mother was helping you escape from that family.
And we left everything, every piece of clothes, right?
And what happened when you got to London?
Well, we stood in front at the Victoria station, and we stood there and we cried. And a man came out, and he said, "What's the matter? You Jewish?" And he wore a skull cap, and we said yes. He said, "You coming home with me to my house?" And we stayed with them.
And this was your mother and your brother and you?
And then she got a very good job, also by German people, well-to-do, right? You don't remember?
No, I don't remember that story.
Oh.
But were you evacuated too?
No, then I went to the hostel.
This is still 1939 or 1940?
It might be 1940 by then.
A school from Cologne. They evacuated before Krista, and their rabbi made a school, and I got there till war broke out, and then everybody was evacuated. And I got a very nice family who had no children, and they were very nice.
So this is your third family in England?
The second. No, yeah, because in London I only stayed a day or two.
Oh, okay.
But then we got in touch, with my mother, and I was evacuated till we got our tickets to come to America.
And when did that happen?
We came here in September. Right.
And how long were you with the second family?
Also not long.
Yeah, those dates are vague. I mean, we have to think that she was 12 or 13 at the time, and so that's why we don't have. We do
Yeah.
have July. I have to look at the passport. Jana? There's a passport.
This one? Oh,
Yeah.
that's
Can you
it.
see the date?
That's Opeth.
No, that thing.
How did you
19.
end up coming to America?
July
Didn't some-
1940. July 13th, 1940.
Someone had to vouch for you,
Who
right?
vouched for you to, it was a strange
You
story.
want me to tell
Yeah,
that story?
yeah.
Well, we got in touch with these people, which was my doctor, our doctor in Germany. And my mother told her, somehow they met, or you wrote, and we got a letter,
Affidavit.
affidavit that
Mayor?
no, and but they lived in Baltimore, and then we got this letter from the mayor of Baltimore. He gave the affidavit with that we never get in touch with him
A
to
stipulation.
say thank you, anything. So that's how we came here.
Did you stay in touch with the British family, the second one that took you
No,
in?
because of the war. And then somehow I didn't want to know too much anymore. I was in England after Israel when we went, and I was not happy even now. I mean, it's a few years, but I was still young.
So you came to Baltimore first,
No, we didn't have to come. We went here
to New York.
to New York, and my aunt we stayed with my aunt till we got an apartment.
And you were 13 or 14 then? 12 or 13?
13. 14 I was here.
14, yeah, 14.
Yeah, when I got here.
And then how did you meet your husband? Over here?
I knew my husband when I was in school in Germany, in the Jewish school. He was an apprentice in a bakery. And in Germany, they used to come to the school with their basket for rolls into a recess. And he always wanted to give me a roll. We knew his family. No,
How did he get the apprenticeship?
that I don't know.
Yes, your mother knew his family.
Yeah.
He was from, how far away was he from?
Oh, that's right near Stuttgart.
Yeah.
And after that, my husband's brother was here, and he came to our apartment, and he asked my mother if she would give him a room. And we had a little room in the back, and he got that. But I didn't like him. Well, I didn't like boys at all. And I didn't like him. But then he went in the army, and we started riding. And somehow, when he came home,
So you had to learn a whole new language when you were here, and
well, I
everything.
knew some English, when I went to school.
In Germany, they taught you English.
Yeah, everybody at that time, somehow. I didn't.
So you settled in New York City
Yeah.
and had a bakery.
I worked in a bakery when I was 16. I left school. You were allowed to leave school here and just go to continuation school. And I worked in a little bakery right near my house.
Which was in the Heights?
Well, at that time, it wasn't even the Heights.
No, you didn't work in bakery first. What kind of place did you work in first? Wasn't bakery. What kind of place did you work in? Chocolate?
No.
Barton's?
No, first I worked in a little bakery.
Oh, okay. I see a new story every time.
And then I worked at Barton's during the war. When there was rationing and people used to stand on line outside, to get a box of candy. That's all that you could get. And the bosses liked me. And so afterwards I was kind of managing. Young.
Do you remember when the war ended, when World War II ended, and you were in New York?
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember the
We
celebration?
where were we? Pauline and I. Somehow we were someplace and everybody was kissing everybody else.
Do you eat Jell-O?
Oh no.
Why not?
When I was with my first family, she had another couple, the girl and the guy. And we were hungry. And when we went to the grocery store, we had to buy something. She stole the Jell-O boxes. But it was like now, sticks.
It was concentrated, right?
Yeah.
It was like you had to reconstitute it.
But in the meantime, I blew up eating all that stuff.
All that sugar.
I was very heavy when I came.
And then,
Yeah.
and what do you argue with your brother about? What did she give you?
I know that she gave me the apple peel, the outside.
Not the apple.
Huh?
Not the apple, just
Not
the peel.
the apple, just the peel. And my brother to this day swears it was oranges rind. And they didn't have oranges in England. And he still insists, he tells the girls, everybody. But I know,
Did you think you would go back to Germany?
never. My husband went, and I could have gone. And I was invited, like all these people from Germany, most of them went. And they got wined and dined, And I said I could not. To this day, I could not. When you're 11, you don't forgive. And I didn't. I don't. Not to this day. That's the hardest.
Why did your father think there wasn't going to be any problem with him? Why did you think that nothing was going to happen to him?
Because he was in the army.
In the German army?
For
World War I?
World War I?
Yeah,
And he was decorated, right? He had medals?
right. He had medal. You have the medal. Someplace.
It made no difference.
No, and what about the family, your aunt and uncle who were and grandparents who were in Stuttgart? Did they have a good business?
Yes.
When you went there for the kinder transport, by that point they still had their business, or they were
They
anything?
thought nothing is gonna happen. They could have done the same thing what we did, but like everybody else, they all thought nothing is gonna happen.
And
I
then,
went through papers the other day how many people from my family on both sides, 14 or 15 people. My grandmother was at that time 80 or more. She went, they took her to Theresienstadt.
The concentration camp.
So all those, the family members who stayed in Stuttgart were deported in, what did we say, 43? We saw there's a memorial there now that we went back. Just to Stuttgart, not to her hometown. Because I also felt that I didn't want to go back. But my daughter was studying and not far from where my father was from. My father didn't have as many bad memories. His community was
Half and half.
half Jewish, so there were a lot of other Jews, but he left earlier. And they knew in this little town in the middle of the Black Forest to get out. It's amazing.
Because you can understand why people would think it would blow over.
Oh, absolutely. Or I mean, how they got to this little town. I mean, it's in the forest. It's like nothing. It was amazing.
And how many Jews were in that town?
Oh, a lot.
Yeah, half of it, and they're all gone.
They were all related somehow, interrelated.
What, do you remember your parents' views of Roosevelt and the
No.
government here?
Nothing. We had no idea about America, you know.
But once they came here, did they become political at all, or no?
Oh yeah, about Roosevelt was God.
That's
Now
what I
we
mean.
know he's not. That's,
I've heard that many times. People thought Roosevelt was God,
yeah.
only to find out that he could have done more.
He could have, that boat that went, and they had to go back.
The St. Louis.
He could have, but he was afraid of, who was the guy, the isolationist, by him. Somebody from the Midwest.
Yeah, I can't remember his name now. I know who she means.
He was afraid.
Could it be Lindbergh? A Lindbergh project?
It'll come to me, I'll let you know. Maybe by the evening.
Do you see any parallels today with the current refugee crisis?
I feel sorry for, especially now with this politics about the Muslims. It's the same thing. They want him to close it. That's a ghetto. That's what we had. But it's not gonna get better. Because when I watch these debates and all, I say, this is exactly what happened.
Does it remind you of Germany in the 30s?
Oh, yes. Very much so. Very much.
You used to say, did they throw rocks at you when you would walk to school?
Oh,
Did you?
yeah. They taunted, you know. But who
Where,
knew-
in Germany or here?
In Germany.
But who knew that? I was a kid, the stupid kids, you know. But
One of the reasons I think she said she never went back to Germany. Why did you say you would never go back? No, but if you would see someone who was your age,
yeah,
you would think that it could have been someone who abused you.
Yeah.
That was always the reason.
it is. And it's not so good there now either for the, you know, so a lot of anti-Semitism.
Did you experience any anti-Semitism when you came to New York?
No, not really. No, well, it was so different. Everybody hung out on a corner. I had that whole street. There were, on the corner was a drugstore, and every night we went there and we talked.
A lot of different ethnic backgrounds, right?
Oh yes, Greek, Spanish. At that time, I don't think they had Puerto Ricans. Irish. I know that.
And did your mother and you guys join a synagogue? Did you go to synagogue when you were here?
You joined a synagogue when you came here?
Oh, yeah. It was nice and movie there when I passed by with the car once. My brother got bar mitzvah there. Well, my brother in England, he went to we went to the Best Inn. You know that the Best Inn is a Jewish court, high court. Like we had to go there and we had to talk to the rabbis and so on. It's very religious. And when they heard Ralph was he was 11 or 11 and a half. It was time for bar mitzvah, so they took us, to the synagogue and gave us a quarter.
And where is he now?
He's in Florida now.
Your brother and you are still close?
Once we were in England, now he was way up north, but once we came here, we still are.
You are.
But he's not close anymore to me. He's in Florida.
So you don't get to see him that often?
We used to see him more when they lived here. I've been in New York. Right.
Can you think of any other lessons you would like to pass along from your experiences, other than the ones you've already told us?
Be more tolerant. Everybody. That's my wish. Both my brother and I, when we were in New York, we had friends. At that time, they were Negro, right? And we went to each other's house.
I think that was very interesting for me, is that how liberal she was, considering what she had been through. Because, sometimes you see people who are the opposite.
No, I think I learned a lesson that to be more liberal. At this time, politics were far from, Now I realize how, in my later years, how intolerant we were. But that was.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. It's really been wonderful to hear you talk about everything.
When I was in your class
Yes.
with Daniel,
Yeah.
do you remember the young guy?
Yeah.
And I still can't find, he
Alan
wrote,
Langston.
he wrote letter
Yeah.
to me.
Yes.
And I put it ever so often I go through my papers.
So she
He
came
was
to,
a student.
yeah.
Who was here on Project Choice. He was from Bridgeport.
Right.
He was-
That was also, because as a child, I didn't want to hear the stories, because it just upset me too much. So she used to call me an ostrich, I'd stick my head in the ground. So when Mrs. Bennett asked her to come to talk to the class, that was really when I heard most of the stories. And even the other day, you said something about the dog at the people that you went to in Brisk?
Yeah,
Yeah. What was the name of those people?
Craddock.
Craddocks. So she just told me that she remembers, oh, that dog looks like Brisk, the dog that that was at the Craddocks. I had never even heard anything about a dog or anything. But and then I think, like, why didn't we get in touch with this Baltimore, the mayor of Baltimore early on and find out, what about him, or thank him even. But each time we hear different stories, and I think it was very helpful for her to go to talk to the classes, and then they wrote letters, and so you liked to go to talk to the class.
Oh, yeah. I went to
loved it.
3.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
came several times.
Yeah.
And they
And
learned
in
a lot.
each one there was one kid who asked more, right? In what was his name?
Allie Langston. Allie?
And you know the one question he asked me. Do you remember that?
I do.
He
Tell
said,
them.
he said to me, "How was it when you saw black people? Were you afraid or scared?" And I said, "No. To me, everybody is the same." I never forgot him.